in a very unassuming manner during the time when Quirinius was governor of Syria. A baby was born in a small town outside of Jerusalem to a young woman. Years later, when trying to recall that birth, very few could remember it. A small band of shepherds were there at the beckoning of angels, while sometime later a band of travelers from the east were led to the child by a star. But that is all we know of his birth. We know even less of his childhood, other than a family pilgrimage which found the young man lost in discussion at the temple. He lived the next 30 years in virtual anonymity. But a bath in a small stream and 40 days wandering in a wilderness where he faced his own demons would change all that. The next 3 years were quite a trip, a journey that would ultimately lead to his demise. His many followers would tell you that he did nothing wrong, unless, of course, you find fault with healing the sick, feeding the hungry, raising the dead, and preaching about the love of God. Yet these very things ruffled the feathers of the religious leaders who, out of jealousy and anger, manipulated the populace and the political powers in order to have him put to death. So in a very public manner, during the time when Pilate was governor of Judea, Jesus of Nazareth was hung on a cross to die as an enemy of the state. One of his followers said that he was the Word with a capital W, the Word become flesh. In other words, he was the incarnate God. Yet with his death on the cross, this claim and the hopes that he embodied for so many seemed to come to a screeching halt. But on the third day of his death, on the first day of the week, all doubts about Jesus being the Word incarnate, the Son of God, were removed. For on that third day, women came, and they found the tomb empty. Peter, too, went to the tomb. He also found it empty. Later that day, Jesus himself appeared to them in person, first to two as they walked along a road, and then to all the apostles in Jerusalem. Over the next 40 days, he appeared to many, many more, so that the world might know that God wins the final victory. Today, we celebrate with believers throughout the world as we raise our voices and proclaim, Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Hallelujah.